today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called Why Hungary and Poland Love Each Other. Now, I never actually knew this was the case. I didn't really know anything about the relationship between Poland and Hungary before I started this channel. After watching a lot of videos about Polish history, I noticed there was like this connection. People told me that in the comments as well, and someone recommended this video, so really interested to learn more about the relationship between Hungary and Poland. If you're from Poland, tell me what you think about Hungary. Tell me what you know about that relationship. Let's watch.
It's a very well-known fact that people tend to achieve great feats while forming a cohesive group with one another. They don't say that you can't whistle a symphony alone, it takes a whole orchestra to play it for nothing. With that in mind, it's no surprise that throughout the history of mankind, many dynamic duos were formed, mostly due to historical, cultural, and spiritual similarities. For example, how Israel and the US are tied together by killing Middle Eastern children, terrorists. But I digress. We're not here to talk about them today. Instead, we'll be taking a look at the totally heteronormative relationship of Poland and Hungary, which in no way is homosexual at all. Poland and Hungary's relationship could be vaguely described as the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Of course, that isn't the whole story. Hungary and Poland share many cultural similarities as well, like how they both have a language resembling Donald Duck having an orgasm.
Oh my god, it feels so good. Oh yeah, oh slow down, oh yeah.
But I would say that their bond was mostly built on the fact that they hated the same people. And isn't that so poetic? Throughout history, Poland and Hungary shared many enemies, everything from the Mongols, Turks, Germans, Soviets, and so on. With that in mind, we are gonna look at some historical happenings that forged the bond into what it is today.
Mongolian? What the hell Mongolian doing here?
The first major event that brought these two together was the Mongol invasion of Hungary and Poland in 1241. When the Mongols attacked, they decided to attack Hungary and Poland simultaneously, given that their spies knew that they would cooperate in the event of an attack on one of them. While the Mongols were successful in their invasion of both countries, they retreated in 1242 because their great Khan Ogadai sadly passed away. But the situation Hungary was left in after the invasion was more than pathetic. Between 50 and 80% of the settlements in Ölföld were destroyed, and Hungary lost somewhere between 15 to 25% of its population, which would be around 500,000 people at the time. The Polish weren't in a much better situation either. Their assets were also saved because of the sudden retreat of the Mongols. The combination of their very badly protected towns and the Mongols' ungodly animal-like bloodlust with the combination of otherworldly horse archery caused them to lose at the end, even with the cooperation of the two, and other kingdoms who aren't that important. However, when the Mongols returned to finish off what they started, they weren't so lucky, as Hungary was prepared this time. Under King Béla IV, Hungary took extensive precautions in the preparation of future invasions of the Mongols. Poland, on the other hand, would go on to lose the second Mongol invasion as well, but later on it would win the third one with the help of Hungary, and thus the Polish-Hungarian bond started to bloom, with the defeat of their first large common enemy.
Yeah, so that's something I never knew, is just how long this relationship goes back, like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And it's a very important one as well, like obviously going into wars together, being attacked, attacking together. So that's pretty interesting as well. Had no idea. Tell me if that's commonly known, how long this relationship goes back in Poland. Is it something you learn at school and so on? Habsburgs.
The next mutual enemy Poland and Hungary would face together were the sweet potato jaw monarchy, also known as the Habsburgs. In the 14th century, three kings met up at the Hungarian city of Visegrad, those being the kings of Hungary, Poland, and Bohemia, whose main objective was to form a cooperative effort between these three against the dynastical personification of the state of Alabama, who had previously suddenly expanded their domain and power. As such, the kings agreed to create a new commercial route to bypass Vienna, which in turn would benefit the three powers. Now we've come to talk about the common enemy of the entirety of Europe, that being the Turks, aka the Ottomans. Between the 13th and the 15th centuries, the Ottomans were gaining more and more power and expanding throughout the Balkans, which would eventually put Christendom and all the Jesus-loving kingdoms in danger of becoming modern-day London and Paris. Thus, in true Hungarian fashion, Hungarian King János
Whoa,
Hunyadi
there's a burn.
stepped up as a defender of Christianity and went into battle against Turkish invaders supported by the King of Poland, Vladislav. Poland was the only foreign power who offered Hungary any help in their crusade against the Ottomans. The king even went to such lengths as dying at the Battle of Varna in 1444. János would be captured by Vlad II, but later on released after a hefty sum of money was paid. Hungary would later go on to lose another battle on Kosovo, but János would repay himself in 1456, winning back Belgrade. Later on, after the Ottomans finally defeated Hungary in the 16th century, many Hungarian nobles took refuge in Poland, where they would gain power and turn back to start again the fight for their homeland. Objectively speaking, the Ottoman invasion period in Europe is so long and would warrant a video of its own to cover justly. With that being said, let's just fast forward past all of the cooperations between Hungary and Poland during this period.
Well, even that one, that's a space of like about 300 years, so many battles together. Like, there can't be too many countries in the world that have this sort of history together. I mean, a lot of countries haven't existed for that long, never mind having all this history together. So this really is put in a bit more perspective for me, the importance of the relationship between Hungary and Poland, actually.
All in all, ultimately, the Poles coming to help out Hungarians in their wager against the Ottomans made the two countries closer as their blood was shed together against the same powerful enemy.
Grzegorz Brzęczyszczykiewicz.
World War
Such a
II is
good clip.
arguably one of the main
Love that
factors that made the two groups uncontrollably simp for one another in the YouTube comment section. While yes, technically both countries were on the opposite sides of the war, they still managed to have friendly relations with each other. In 1939, everyone's favorite Austrian painter invaded Poland. During his 6-month invasion, the Germans asked for Hungary to allow their forces to pass through the country to invade Poland, which was refused by the Hungarian administration due to Hungarian honor. Later on, with the fall of Poland, many Polish military personnel escaped to Hungary, where they would then be allowed to go to France and French colonies to continue the fight against fascism. In the same time period, the Hungarian government refused to close down a Polish cultural institute in Budapest. Within the institute, Polish culture was freely practiced, which was against German wishes, who were actively suppressing it throughout occupied Poland. Along this, many other Polish schools were opened throughout Hungary, which were used by Polish refugees. By the end of the war in 1944, Hungarian soldiers refused to help the Germans suppress the Warsaw Uprising. Many even gave the Poles weapons, ammunition, and medical supplies. Captured Polish insurgents were treated by Hungarians who would let them go back to fight in Poland.
Yeah, so again, I've learned a lot about Poland and what happened to Poland during World War II. I never really knew the importance of Hungary in that as well, but Hungary really stood strong and helped Poland so much. It's a great thing to see that. Did so many things, bringing in refugees and not bowing down to the Germans. So really respect that from Hungary. Soviets.
Hungary's hate towards the Russians stems from the revolution of 1956. Poverty was rampant in Hungary at the time, and most of the industrial goods and foods was sent to Russia, which is kinda bad given that you are starving. Other than that, they hate the very forceful way Russia was doing things, mainly their tendency to censor books and media, control what was taught at school, and in the implementation of the secret police, and all sorts of communist bullshit social studies students propagate for today. The banning of religion was also a big negative, given that Hungarians are very religious even to this day. As for Poland, their main reason for hating them was the Polish-Soviet War, and then the Soviet control of Poland. During communist times, Poland was a vassal state of the USSR. It's not just that the Soviets imposed communism. After the war ended, they started hunting down and rounding up members of the AK, the Polish resistance, and putting them into prison or executing them. Now, imagine having your country be at war for 6 years, and seeing your greatest foe defeated, and then having the people calling themselves your saviors killing members of your home army. Yeah, that's basically how the Poles felt about the Russians. They held a massive rigged referendum where the official results embraced communism, winning in a 4-1 margin, when the actual results showed a rejection of the policies in a 3-2 margin. 20 years later, during a period of openness, the Soviets, unable to secure hard currency loans from the West, had the Polish government take loans out to buy heavy Western machinery and resell it to the USSR for something called transfer rubles, a pseudo-currency used in the Eastern Bloc. They were effectively worthless and screwed over Poland big time. Essentially, both Poland and Hungary had to suffer under the boot of communism, which brought the two even closer than before, as they would relate to what the other was going through. The alliance between the two nations continued on into the 21st century as well. In 2007, Hungary's parliament declared March 23rd a day of Hungarian-Polish friendship, and 4 days later the Polish parliament did the same. Later, throughout the migrant crisis of 2015 and 2016, many Polish border guards helped out their Hungarian colleagues with protecting their border. In recent years, both countries formed an alliance in the EU Parliament where they would always vote in favor of the other country, which would allow them to continuously fuck with the liberals of the West and not take any refugees. In the endless streaming pile of doo-doo that was the brutal human history, Poland and Hungary formed a bond that would last for generations to come, and make their upcoming troubles more tolerable. What began as an obligatory neighbors help neighbors gesture was soon shaped into the unbreakable bond that would resemble modern-day mutual white girl hatred towards the same guy that ghosted them. May their friendship last for an eternity, and may they circle jerk each other online for centuries to come. Thanks once more for watching, and special thanks to these wonderful...
Yeah, tell me what you think about that. So, very interesting, cool to learn more just about that relationship, but just more about Polish history, learn a little bit about Hungary as well. I don't really know too much about Hungary, so tell me what you think about Hungary, tell me more about Hungary as a country, and yeah, is this relationship as respectful as this video makes out? Is there anybody in Poland that doesn't like Hungary for any reason? But it's such a long history, and that's right up until today, still relying on each other. We see that migrant issue there as well. So yeah, a mutual, respectful relationship with a lot of history, and it's very interesting for me. Thanks.